Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to BYJU'S exam prep. My name is Naveen, and today I'll be taking you through questions for CAT 2023 puzzle-based DI. So recently in CAT, DIs have become kind of obsolete. So in CAT 2022, in the first slot, there was like no proper DI, and in the next two slots, there were only one DI set out of four. So the kind of DIs also that we get right now, they are not direct graph based. There is going to be some logic or puzzle involved. When we say puzzle, it's not those riddles that we're talking about, but majorly there are going to be caselets, missing data, or looking at the data, you have to figure out the relationship between the axis or the variables given. So we will go through some of the sets and let's see how well how to solve them. Okay. So yeah, hi Varun, hi Arjun. So everyone who is joining, please make sure that you like and subscribe. Okay. So this is the first set. All the sets that we are going to do today, they are going to be CAT based, as in those questions have come in CAT before. So read the information given and answer the following questions. The profitability of a company is defined as the ratio of its operating profits to its operating income. Okay, typically expressed in percentage. Now, when you read statements like these, you try to figure out what does it mean, if there is any formula involved, which all axes are they talking about, which graph should we actually look into, and then we should proceed with the next statement. So as you can see, it is given as the profitability of a company is defined as the ratio of its operating profits to its operating income, typically expressed in percentage. So profitability of a company is defined as its operating profit, OP stands for operating profit, to its operating income, and typically defined as percentage. That means you need to multiply it by 100 to get the percentage. Now we need to find out where is operating profit and operating income in the graph. So if you look in the first graph, this is where operating profit is and this is where operating income is, right? So if I want to find the profitability of this particular dot, so the operating profit is 15 and operating income is somewhere between 150 and 200. To make the calculation easier, I will take 175. So this is going to be 15 out of 175, which is going to be 1 upon, it won't go by 1, so it will go by 3, right? So 5 into 3 is 15 and 5 into 35 is 175. So 3 upon 35 will be the fraction. If I want to calculate the percentage, I'll put 2 zeros and put a percentage. 300 by 35 is going to be very close to 85%. So we can say this is the, whichever company this is, this dot diamond represents, its operating profit is 85%. Okay. Hold on, this shouldn't be 85. This is way less. Sorry, not 85. This is going to be 8%. I'm sorry. This is going to be 8%, not 85%. Okay, so this is approximately 8.5%. Okay, so once we understand the meaning of that profitability thing, then we can move ahead, read further. The following two charts, so these are the two charts they are talking about, right? The following two charts, they show the operating income. So this is where the operating income is, as well as the profitability of the 6 companies. So this is the operating income, this is the profitability. Okay, for the 2 fiscal years, 2001, 2002 and 2002, 2003. The operating profits of these 4 companies are plotted against their respective operating income figures in the third chart given below. So this is the chart they are talking about, right? The relation between OP and OI. So we will not try to solve everything right now. We will see what the question is asking us about and then accordingly we'll solve. Okay. So yeah, Varun, I'm doing good. Shraddha, I'm in Delhi NCR. So this is the first question. Which of the following statements is not true? First statement, the company with the third lowest profitability in fiscal year 2001-2002 has the lowest operating income in fiscal year 2002-2003. The company with the highest operating income in 2 financial years combined has the lowest operating profit in fiscal year 2002-2003, and so on and so forth. So we will look at the graphs and we will try to solve it. Now, the 4 statements that we are looking at in the options, they are quite lengthy, right? As in, it looks like there is going to be a lot of calculation involved. So in such cases, sometimes you skip such a question, not the set, you skip this question, you move to the next one. Well, you will come back to this question later on anyways, right? Once you are done with all the questions and all the sets. So we will try to start with that option, which is going to be easier to solve so that we can check whether it is true or not. So if we look at option number A, it is talking about the lowest operating income, third lowest profitability. In order to solve this, don't you think we will have to solve for all the companies and everything? So, jata calculation. If I look at second option, highest operating income, lowest operating profit. So whenever there is a comparison is being made out of 4 data or 5 data or 10 data, and whenever highest or lowest is asked, we will know highest only when we are done the calculation with all the 4, 5 or 10 data, right? So whenever comparison is there, it means you have to calculate a lot. C option, Charlie, companies with a higher operating income than this fiscal year have higher profitability than certain area. Again, this is a comparison, so we'll have to make calculation for each of the given companies, right? So I will not prefer ABC. Let's look at D. Companies with profitability between 10% and 20% in fiscal year 2001-2002 also have operating incomes between 150 crores and 200 crores in fiscal year 2002 and 2003. Now, this is something that again, the comparison has to be made, but the comparison has to be made for a specific company. It's not a comparison between 2 companies. It's about the same company, right? As compared to the same company in certain fiscal year. So I will start checking option D first. So companies with profitability between 10% and 20% in fiscal year also have operating incomes between 150 crore and 200 crore in 2002-2003. So if you look at the information given, this particular chart is about the operating income against operating profits for the fiscal year 2002-2003 and not 2001-2002. So it's the second fiscal year they're talking about, right? So let's start. They're talking about profitability between 10% and 20%. So profitability between 10% and 20% in fiscal year 2001-2002. So the shaded one, the more gray one, right? So this is company A that we have. We have company C. Company E looks to be more, and company F is more than that. So there are only 2 companies that fall in this category. They have operating incomes between 150 crores and 200 crores. So company A, fiscal year 2002-2003, these are their operating incomes for company A and C, right? And it is given that the range is between 150 crores and 200 crores. So is it, okay, this is definitely less than 15 or 15. So, is it true or is it false? Option D. Anyone? Is this true or is this false? Jaydev is asking, why not E? Jaydev, if you look at fiscal year 2001-2002, This is more than, acha, 10 and 20% hai na? Sorry. Right. So this is between these two. So 3 companies, right? Company. So there are 3 companies. I took it as 15%. I don't know whether you took it, whether did you take it as 15. It should be 15 and 20, 10 and 20, right? So there are 3 companies, Alpha, Charlie, and Echo, that lies between 10% and 20% profitability. And their operating incomes should be between 150 crores and 200 crores. So is this true? Whichever companies we have, all the 3 companies, we have 3 companies, right? Is it true that whatever condition is given, it happens? No. For Charlie, it exceeds, right? And even if you think that this is less than, this is not more than 200, this is exactly 200 for fiscal year 2002-2003. But the question says between 150 and 200 crores. It doesn't say from 150 to 200 crores. So D is the statement which is not true. See, we would have wasted so much time if we would have gone after Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. So it's not necessary that you need to start with these options which comes first. You should look at the options, whichever is easier to calculate, start from there. Coincidentally, there may be a chance that the easiest calculation will give you the correct answer. Okay, it's pure coincidence. Second, which company recorded the highest operating profit in fiscal year 2002-2003? So we need to find out highest. So we know that profitability is given as operating profit upon operating income. So if we want operating profit, so can I say operating profit will be profitability into operating income for every company? So if I want to figure out what is the operating profit for company A, I will have to take its profitability for 2002-2003 year, and with that I will compare it, I will multiply it with the operating income for the same company for the same fiscal. And since the question is talking about 2002-2003, so we will be taking up the dotted graphs, right? Those are more white in color. So since we need the highest operating profit, should we go ahead and calculate everything? Or is it quite understood that whenever you are multiplying 2 things, if both of them are the largest among their sectors, then their product is also going to be the largest, right? So if I look at it, I can see that D is the highest so far when it comes to operating income, but its profitability is way, way less, right? So this is not going to give us the highest. So D doesn't make sense. Anyways, D is not in the option. The next possibility could be between E, right? Or it could be between C. Because their bars are of the same length in both the cases. A little difference is there. If you look at F, the operating income is huge, but the profitability is very, very low. So we have to check for only these 2, right? So if I look at C's, so C is going to be, it has a profitability of 15% into the operating income is a little over 200 crores. Can we take it as 225 or 220? 225 to nahi hai. So we'll take this as 220. If you look at E, is going to be 17.5 into its operating income, which is going to be, if I continue this, into 200. So which one out of these two is going to make sense? 15% of 220 or 17.5% of 200? Tell me. Which calculation is larger? Fifteen into 22 is going to give us 330, right? Or 33. And 17.5 into 2 is going to give us 35. So E is going to be the largest. So company E recorded the highest operating profit. So we don't have to look at all the figures. We have to only look at the the company where the corresponding bars are among the highest, right? Third, what is the approximate average operating profit in fiscal year 2000-2002 of the two companies excluded from the third chart? So there are a total of 6 companies here, right? And there are only 4 companies here. So we need to find out the approximate average operating profit. So for that, don't you think we need to first of all find out, these 4 diamond shapes in the second chart, the one on the drawn on the left, they represent which companies from the 2 charts? Since the relation is between operating income and operating profit, we will be able to figure it out, right? Okay. So let's start. Let's try to understand which companies those are denoted by. Now, the first is operating income is going to be around 175. Operating income being 175 for the fiscal year 2002-2003. 175. Right, this is operating income being 175. It's more than 175, right? I believe that is given for the fiscal year 2002-2003 only, right? So 175. Well, the only thing that we can, we don't see, I don't see a 175 for fiscal year 2002-2003, right? So the lowest one is going to be company A. So this is company A. Okay. Next is so A is there. Next one is between 200 and 250. So between 200 and 250, we have a lot of companies, right? But the one that is very close is company B. Okay, so this is company B. Then we have 2 companies whose operating income is 200. So operating income being 200. Or very close to 200, a little up and below. It can't be A, so it's going to be E and F, right? B is already more than 200. C is also more than 200. The next 2 lowest are E and F. So one of them is E, another is F. Which one is which? We really don't care, right? Because we need to find out the companies which are not included here. So the 2 companies that are not included over here, okay, the ones that are excluded, we need to find out their operating profit average. Okay. So if I look at C and D now, C and D, the operating profit of C in fiscal year 2001-2002 can be calculated as, this is 175 into Fiscal year 2001, 2002, this one was 15%. This is less than 15%. So let's take this as 14% approx. Okay. If I look at operating profit for company D for fiscal year 2001, 2002, so this one is 250 and this one is 200. So this is going to be approximately 240 to 50 के आसपास ही है into its profitability for the year 2001, 2002 for the company C's, right? So this is going to be what? Minus 2.5%. So we will have to find the average of these two. Okay. So there were two parts. We had to relate the diamond wala graph, which is fiscal year 2002, 2003 with fiscal year 2000, 2003 operating income from the first bar graph. Once we figured out which four companies are plotted there, we figured out which two companies are not plotted. Then we take those two companies and we don't need 2002, 2003 for those two companies. Now we need to shift to 2001, 2002 and we need operating profit because operating income and profitability is given. So we will be using the same formula we looked into the last one because question asks us to find the operating profit. So the answer may not be very accurate, but we need to find the closest one. So 14% of 175, how much is that going to be? So this is going to be 7 and 17.5. So this is going to be 24, 25, 24, 25, 24-ish, right? And then this is 2.5% less. So this is minus 6, right? And we need to divide it by 4. So 24 minus 6 is 18. 18 divided by 4 is going to give us 4.5 with a positive sign, right? So 4.5 with a positive sign, the closest option that we get is option B. Bravo. There had been some changes. Charlie and Bravo. So the one with 200 and 250 ke beach. Why is it not calculatable, Jaydev? Of course it's calculatable. We can calculate this, right? Why do you think it's not? We can't calculate this. Can you specify a bit? Did I divide it by 4? Acha nahi, there are only 2, no? Sorry, divided by 2. Oh, there are only 2 companies. So this is going to give us 9. And 9 we do not have in the option. Sorry, it should be divisible by 9. Okay, let's redo this. Fiscal year 2002, 2003, this is somewhere between 150 and 200. Operating income fiscal year 2000, 2003, between 150 and 200. So this is 150 and this is 200. Which one is this? This is of course A. Okay. Operating income between 200 and 250. Is it B or is it C? B is like 225 and C is closer to 200. If you look at 200 and 250, this is going to be 225. This is less. So it should be closer to this. A is done. This should be C and not B. Okay, the values are going to be close to 200, not exactly 200, maybe 200 or less than that. So C is done, right? These are the points. These are the bars that we are looking at. Okay, next two companies which are close to 200. Close to 200, the next two companies are going to be E and F. Okay, E and F, which one is E, which one is F, we don't know. Okay, so we will have B and D. Now, once we get B and D, fiscal year 2001, fiscal year 2002, we need to find out the profitability. They both are negative percentages with the bases being these. So our answer should be negative for sure, right? Now this makes sense. So let's do one thing. Let's solve it and let's see, is it 7.5? So this is going to be approximately how much? This is 240 for B and this is almost like 5%, 4%. So 4% of 240, remember this is negative sign. If you look at delta, this is little less than 250 again, almost the same value, and 2.5% of 240. If I take this as 4.5% to make the calculation easier, because the bases are same, this is going to give me, of course I'll have to divide it by 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So minus 7.5, minus 7% of 240 divided by 2, which is minus 7% of 120. Minus 7% of 100 will be minus 7. And 7% of 20 is going to be 0.84. So negative 8.4 आ रहा है मेरे पास. But anyways, we have only one value with the negative sign, right? So minus 7.5. This is the set which was there when CAT used to be pen and paper based. So it was very easy to actually take the rough sheet and figure out whether it lies between 150 and 200 or 200 and 250. On this screen, it becomes very difficult. No, Jaydev, we are able to fetch. The thing is, we can only get to the closest. That's why the options are very far. One value is minus 7.5, one is 3.5, one is 25. So even if you are very close to the approximation of the base or the profitability, base here would mean operating income, still your answer is going to be revolving around it. So it's not going to be very far where we will be confused as to should we take this or that. Okay, so minus 7.5 makes sense. Next one. The average operating profit in fiscal year 2002-2003 of companies with profitability exceeding 10% in fiscal year 2002-2003 approximately is. So profitability exceeding 10%. So can we say we have 4 companies? Right? And thankfully they have asked us approximately. So we need to find out the average operating profit. So a lot of calculation is required. For company A, we can say that this is 12.5% of its operating income. How much is its operating income? So A is operating income. So what I will do is I will draw a line like this so that it's easier later on. Sorry, it says 2002-2003, right? Not 2001-2002. So I have to look into the next year, the second year, not the first. So there are only 2 companies, right? It's company C and company E. They have got an operating profit, sorry, not operating profit, profitability more than 10%, only for 2 companies, C and E, not A. Fiscal year 2002-2003. Okay, so the first one, company C, this is how much? This is 15% of, how much is that? 200 plus company E, how much is it? What percentage is it? So this is 15 and that is 20. So 16, yeah, 17.5, 17, something like that, right? So company A, let's take that as 17% of. Company A is going to be 200. This is also approximately 200 only, right? Okay, and we need to divide it by 2 also. So 15% of 200, 17% of 200, the average, can I say, is going to be approximately 16% of 200. 15 plus 17 divided by 2. So 16% of 200 is going to be 32. So 32 crores is the approximate value. So option D. So fiscal year 2002-2003, there are only 2 companies whose profitability exceeds 10%, company C and D. So their operating profit average will be profitability into operating income, like we have been doing for the last 2 questions, the calculation. And this is what we get. This is the closest I think we will be able to reach. Okay. So no question from there. Next. The local office of the APP CAB company evaluates the performance of 5 cab drivers A, B, C, D and mean for the monthly. Is there anything missing? Okay, it's not mean, it's Iman. For the monthly payment based on ratings in 5 different parameters as given below. The 5 different parameters are P1 is timely arrival, P2 is behavior, P3 is comfortable ride, P4 is driver's familiarity with the route, and P5 is value for money. Based on feedback from the customers, the office assigns a rating from 1 to 5 in each of these parameters. Each rating is an integer, so we can't take point values. From a low value 1 to a high value of 5. So 1 denotes lowest rating and 5 denotes highest rating, the usual convention. The final rating of a driver is the average of his ratings in these 5 parameters. So there are 5 parameters, whatever the rating has been given, then we take its average, and that average is called the final rating. The monthly payment of the drivers has 2 parts, fixed payment and the final rating based bonus. If a driver gets a rating of 1 in any of the parameters, he is not eligible to get bonus. If he gets 1 in any of the parameters, okay, and to be eligible for bonus, a driver also needs to get a rating of 5 in at least one of the parameters. So if he gets 1, he doesn't get a bonus. If he gets 5, then he may get a bonus given that he doesn't get a 1, right? And the number of parameters in which 1 or 5 is required is only 1 parameter, or at least 1 parameter. Ek kafi hai. The partial information related to the ratings of the drivers in different parameters and the monthly payment structure is given in the table below. So once we look at the table, it will be more clear. So let's talk about Arun. Arun has received a parameter of 4 and the other 4, he has got a rating of 4 in one of the parameters. And he hasn't received, we don't know the ratings in the others. Suppose he gets a rating of 1, 2, 3 and then again a 1. Will he be eligible for bonus? No, because he gets a 1. Suppose he gets a 5, 5, 5 and 1. Is he eligible for bonus? No, because he gets a 1. If he gets 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, is he eligible for bonus? No, because he doesn't get a 5. If he gets 2, 3, 4, 4 and 5, is he eligible for bonus? Yes. Because he doesn't get a 1 and he gets at least 1 5, he is eligible for bonus. Okay. So we have to understand, how the numbers should be given. None of the cells are filled. There are a total of 25 cells. Out of those 25, only 5 cells are filled. Remaining 20, we don't know. The fixed payment for these drivers are 1000, 1200, 14, 13, 1100, and bonus is, variable. It depends whether they're eligible for it or not. The following additional facts are also known. A and B have got a rating of 5 in exactly one of the parameters. So A and B, they have received a 5 in exactly one of the parameters. So they may be eligible for bonus, given that they do not get a 1. C has got a rating of 5 in exactly 2 parameters. So C gets a rating of 5 in 2 parameters. So C is also eligible for bonus. Not necessarily he will get the bonus, depending upon if he gets a 1 or not. None of the drivers has got the same rating in 3 parameters. That means nobody gets a 1, 1, 1. So the maximum number of rank or the score, okay, the rating that somebody gets is maximum 2 parameters. So same rating, 3 parameters may not given. So we won't be obviously able to fill it up because we don't know the total payment he has received to calculate something. So this is a kind of set where you really can't do anything once you read and you see the table or the graph. What you have to do is straight away jump to the question, because in the question there will be enough information to fill up whatever is required. Okay. So this one, if D does not get a bonus, so what are the additional information? A and B, they are going to get a single 5 and 5, and C gets 5 in 2 of them. Don't know anything about delta and echo. Damodran and Inman ke bare mein kuch nahi pata, right? If D does not get a bonus, what is the maximum possible value of his final rating? Well, if D doesn't get a bonus, then the maximum he can get is, so far we know that he has got a 3, and since he does not get a bonus, it means he needs to get at least a 1. This is one possibility. And since we need to maximize his final rating, we need to make sure that he gets the maximum in the remaining 3, which could be 554 rather than 544. Ye ek possibility hai. The other possibility is he doesn't get a 1, but he also doesn't get a 5. That could also happen. So if he doesn't get a 1, let's say he doesn't get a 5 as well. So what all he can get? So he can get 2 3s, 2 4s, and then a 2. Ye bhi ho sakta hai. He's still not eligible because he did not get a 5. And in the first one, he is not eligible because he gets a 1, irrespective of the case that he also gets 5. So between these two, which one is the maximum final rating? So final rating, how do we calculate? We take the average, right? So this is a total of 18 by 5, which is 3.6. And the next one is 16 by 5, which is 3.2. The maximum one is 3.6. So Charlie becomes our answer. Right? We needed the maximum possible. So we made sure the rating was the largest that we can give. 1 hai to 5 le lo. 1 nahi hai, maximum you can take is 4. And only 2 4s. Remember? Nobody gets same rating in 3 parameters. Okay. Next. What all are we aware of? A gets a 5, B gets a 5, C gets 2 5s, right? This is what we know. Okay. If E gets a bonus, what is the minimum possible value of his final rating? So now E has to get a bonus. We already know he has got a 2, and we need to make sure that he gets a bonus. So he needs to have a 5 also and no 1. And we need to find out the minimum possible value of his final rating. As in, every rating should be as low as possible. We can't take a 1 because then he won't be eligible for bonus, against contrary to what the question says. So we can't take a 1. Ek 2 hai, ek aur 2 lete. 5 is already there, so he gets a bonus. And the next possibility is 3 and 3. Because if I give him 4 and 4, his final rating will increase. So if we add this, the final rating is going to be average of these 5. So this is 15 divided by 5, which is going to give us 3. So 3 is the minimum possible value of his final rating. Right? Okay. Next. We know that A gets a 5, B gets a 5, C gets 2, 5. If all 5 drivers get bonus, what is the minimum possible value of the monthly payment that the driver gets? So we will have to check for all. The same calculation as the previous one, right? Now, if somebody is going to receive minimum possible value of monthly payment, so his final rating should be minimum. ये तो fix है, because fixed payment we can't really do anything about it. Bonus multiplier, those numbers 250, 200, 100, we can't change that as well. We can only change that bonus part, the variable component, right? So one by one. So A is supposed to get a rating, so he gets a 5, and we need to make his monthly payment minimum, as in his final rating should be minimum. That will happen if he gets a 2, 2 and 3, 3, right? So if we find out the final rating, this is going to be 3. So his total money that he receives is 1000 plus 250 into 3, which is going to give us 1750. Okay, if we talk about B, B gets a 5 for sure. Oh, sorry. He also gets a 4, no? एक 4B already here. So this one will give us 16 by 5, which is 3.2. So 250 into 3.2. So this is going to give us 800. Okay. For B, we have a 5 and a 3. We need to minimize and make sure that he gets a bonus. We should give him 2 more 2s and a 3. So he is going to get a total of 15, his final rating being 3, his payment being 1200 plus 200 into 3, which is going to give us 600 plus 1200, which is 1800. Okay. If we look at Charlie, as in Chandan, he gets 2 5s and a 2 for sure, right? 2 is already there. And I did not make any mistake in the previous 2. So 2 5 is there, 1 2 is there, another 2 is there, and then a 3 is there. So this is going to be 17 by 5, which is going to give us 3.4, which will be 1400 the fixed payment plus 100 into 7.4, which is 740 plus 1400, which will be more than 2000 for sure. Okay, if we look at D, he definitely gets a 3. He should get at least a 5. He should get then 2 2s and a 3 to minimize his final score. This is nothing but 15. So 15 by 5 is 3. His total payment is going to be 300 plus 150 into 3. Hold on. This is not 7.4. No, this is 3.4. So 340 plus 1400. 1740. Okay, next one is 450 plus 1300. This is 1750. Okay, we have an option which says 1600. So we should actually check that. We know that 1750 so far is not the answer. 1700 bhi shayad aa sakta hai. So Iman ka bhi we will have to check. He definitely gets a 2. In order to get a bonus, he should get a 5. He shouldn't get 1. He should get 1, 2 and 2 more 3s to minimize his final score. This is again 15. So this becomes 3. So this is 1100 plus 200 into 3. So 600 plus 1100. This is going to be 1700. So 1700 is the minimum monthly payment. And it is going to be taken by E. In which parameter, what rating he gets, we don't know that. Right? Okay. Next, if all 5 drivers get bonus, what is the maximum possible value of the monthly payment? Same question as the previous one, but now we will have to make sure his final score is maximum, right? So Arun definitely gets a 5, Barun gets a 5, Chandan gets 2 5s, not sure about D and D. Okay, so A, he gets a 5, he gets a 4, we will have to make sure he gets another 5, a 4 and a 3. So his final rating is going to be 23, 4.6. So this is going to be 1000 plus 250 into 4.6. So this is going to be 150, 1000, 2150. Is it 4.6? If all 5 drivers get bonus, what is the maximum possible? So he gets 2 5s, he gets 2 4s and then a 3. 8 plus 3 is 13, 13 plus 10 is 23, 23 by 5 is 4.6. 1000 plus 250 into 4.6. 250 into 4 is another 1000. And 250 into 0.6 is 150. So this is 2150. What calculation mistake I am doing? Because in none of the options we have 2150. This is the maximum possible monthly payment, right? Am I missing something? Oh, 8 plus 3 is 11. So this is 21. So this is 4.2. Yes, I was making a mistake. So this is 4.2. Okay, so this is going to be 1000 plus 1000 and 250 into 0.2 is 2050. Now the thing is, the moment I get, if I look at the options, 2050 largest hai, to yahi ruk jana chahiye, right? We shouldn't check others because we are pretty sure that 2050 is the maximum possible value of the monthly payment. We shouldn't go ahead and check B, C, ये सब waste है time का. Okay. So, nice set, right? Divij, I can divide it by 5, I can leave it. If I leave it, so I know that the multiplier of the bonus, they are all in the table of 5. So that will make up my calculation easier. पर अगर नहीं भी करूंगा तो it depends how good you are at dividing a number by 5 or multiplying a number by 5. तो दोनों केस में it's going to be all good. ठीक है. चलो. Next one. Read the information given and answer the following questions. Ghosh Babu has a manufacturing unit. The following graph gives the cost for various number of units. So we have the production. These are the number of units. And this is cost, which is divided into fixed cost. If you look at the darkened, the bold line, it is a fixed cost. So the fixed cost is sum is 70 as long as the total number of units produced is it 35? Is it 34? Can't really say. It's less than 35. Chalo 34 le lete. Okay. And then the fixed cost suddenly becomes 100 right after we are done with 34 units. Okay. Now the revenue increases, the upper dotted line, this is the revenue, and the lower dotted line, this is the variable cost. So as the number of units being produced it keeps on going, fixed cost remains constant, variable cost and revenue keeps on increasing. At a certain point, fixed cost increases while variable cost and revenue, they were increasing linearly. They are still increasing linearly. So the two dotted lines, they don't change their trajectory. The bold line, it changed its trajectory, right? It took a jump. Now, the formula that is given to us is that the profit is given as revenue minus variable cost minus fixed cost. Now, this is something that we should be we should already know. We shouldn't actually rely on the formula. What is profit? Profit is the total sales, the revenue, minus cost. Now, the cost has two components, variable and fixed. So, we should actually add both of them and say this is the total cost. When you subtract that from revenue, you get profit. The fixed cost remains constant up to 34 units. Okay, fine. Now it makes sense that it is 34. After which additional investment is to be done in fixed assets. In any case, production cannot exceed 50 units. So the limit to the production is 50. इससे ज़्यादा बना भी नहीं सकती कंपनी. Okay, so whatever you assume, sometimes later on when you read further, it gets confirmed. For example, I thought that was 34. When I read the last line, I realized that yes, it was actually 34. ठीक है? तो ऐसा कभी नहीं करना चाहिए. We should never do this. That we should read everything at one go. We will not understand everything. So read slowly in parts. Okay. Now, what is the minimum number of units that need to be produced to make sure that there was no loss? Okay. So how should we go ahead and solve this? क्या करें? What shall we do? Anyone? There are two approaches to this. How should we proceed? Any idea? Okay. How about this? We use options. Suppose 5 units are being produced. If 5 units are being produced, so 5 is going to be somewhere over here. We will draw this. Right? And then if there is no loss, think about this scenario. If there is no loss, can we say that the amount that received, that is revenue, sales, that should be same as the fixed cost plus variable cost? So if I look at this scenario of 5 units, so revenue is over here. Is it equal to the sum of fixed cost and variable cost, the 2 points where the inclined line of variable cost and the horizontal line of fixed cost, they meet, right? We look at the y-axis. Is it true? So if I look at 5 wale case mein, revenue is 100, fixed cost is 70, and variable cost, don't you think it is a little over 70? So they are not equal. This is a loss scenario. Cost is more than 140 rupees. Revenue is only 100. So A can't be our answer. Then we will have to go after option B. Option B is going to be 9. Suppose this is 10. So 9 mein ye kar lenge. So let's say this is 9. Right? Now, if you look at that, what is the revenue? So can we say revenue is a little less than 200, between 150 and 200, so 175. What is fixed cost? That is 70. What is variable cost? So can we say variable cost is between 100 and 150? 120, 125? Right? More than 110. So if we add this, they are not equal. So B can't be our answer. So we can see that the gap between the revenue and the sum of the two costs is decreasing. पहले बहुत का gap था, अब close आ गया. So after 9, should we go for option C 20 or should we go and check 12? Either will do, because if we check D option, if it is the answer, great. If it is not, of course C is the answer. If we check C, if we get it, That is the answer. If no, then obviously D is the answer. So since only two options are left, we can start with any one of those two. I'll take D, 12. So 12 यहाँ पर है कहीं. This is 12, so I will draw a line. Right? So this is 12. Revenue looks like between 200 and 250. So let's say this is 225. What is fixed cost? Fixed cost is 70. And what is variable cost? Can we say variable cost is somewhere in between 100 and 200, so 150? So if we add them, they are close. So at 20, if we try to take that value, 20 pe, this is 70, this value is almost like 390, and this value is almost like 250. So we can see that the sum of 250 and 70 is way less than 390, as in the revenue is much more than the cost involved. So this is a case of profit for sure. So this approximation for option D, it makes sense कि 12 पे बिल्कुल होना चाहिए, because we don't have any other option, right? So using options is the faster approach. The other approach would be to find the equation of the line revenue, find the equation of the line variable cost, find the equation of the line fixed cost, subtract using the formula given for profit, and then differentiate or find the minima or maxima. Much lengthier, right? इसीलिए छोड़ देते हैं उसे. Next, how many units should be manufactured such that profit was at least rupees 50? So profit is going to be at least rupees 50. So for that, if you look at the options, can we try the middle value? Can we take 30? और इधर से try करते हैं. If at 30 I get at least 50, great, that is the answer. If I get more than 50, so I will have to check 20. If I get less than 50 rupees, so I'll have to check 34 or 45. No. So let's do this. So here the fixed cost is 70, the variable cost is 400, and the revenue is 575, let's say. So 470 is the total cost, 575 is the revenue. So the profit is going to be way more than 50. So D is not our answer, as in 30 pe to nahi aa raha, but it is way more than 50. So let's check for A, or we can mark it and move ahead, right? It's obvious, it has to be A. But check kar lete ek baar. So at 20, if we draw a line, so the fixed cost is 70, the variable cost is 250, and the revenue is almost 400, 390 le lete hain, like we took it in the last case. So 390 minus 250 plus 70, which is 390 minus 320, which is 70. So since we took an approximation, we are getting the profit as 70 rupees. So 10 plus minus ho gaya, right? In the revenue, I have taken 10 more maybe, and in the case of cost, I have taken 10 less. So that gap will be minimized. So obviously A makes sense. We shouldn't go beyond 30. It's increasing, right? Okay. Next, if at the most 40 units can be manufactured, so this is the limit, right? Then what is the number of units that can be manufactured to maximize profit per unit? So we need to maximize profit per unit, right? So can we say that profit per unit के लिए, let's not go, go via the equations. Let's use the options again. Let's start with a number which is somewhere in middle. So let's take 35 and see what happens. So this is 34, right? अच्छा एक काम करते हैं, let's take it 34. Now at 34, do we have to take 70 or 100? So the fixed cost remains constant up to 34 units. So up to 34, it is 70 rupees. After 34, it becomes 100, right? So at 34, we have 70 rupees. This is going to be some, most probably exactly between 400 and 500, which is 450. And this is between 600 and 700, most probably 650. So the profit is going to be 270. So 130 divided by 34. Now 130 divided by 34 is going to be very close to, देखो अगर 120 by 30 होता तो 4 होता, right? So can we say this is going to be very close to 4, a little less than 4? Because 34 into 4 is 136. We are getting 130. So very close to 4. Okay, so at 35 we are getting 4. Let's take a number which is, we took 34, no? 35 million. Let's take 40. Let's see if it's increasing or not. So for 40, we can see that the fixed cost is 100 and the variable cost is between 500 and 550. So I'll take this as 520 to make the calculation easier. I'm not taking 525. If I look at the revenue, this is between 700 and 800, a little between 750 and 800. So I'll take this as 760 to make the calculation easier. So this is 760 minus 520 minus 100. So 620 and 760. So this is 140, but there is 40. So this is approximately going to be 3, a little more than 3. And that was almost 4. So 40 doesn't make sense. 35 will not make sense, right? Decrease ho gaya. Let's check for 25 once. So if you look at 25, 25 is here. So 25. 70 is the fixed cost. Variable cost is little between 350 and 300. Little less than 350. 340. And this is very close to 500. Let's take this as 490. So we have this as 340 minus 70, 410. So we have the profit as 80 over 25. 80 over 25 is a little more than 3, but definitely less than 4. So at 25 also we are not going to get the answer. So 34 makes sense. Now the question arises, why did I cross out 35? Because if you look at 35, from 34 to 35, there is a sudden change of 30 when it comes to the cost. But the revenue has not increased by 30. Revenue aram se badha, right? Between two numbers. So at 34, you will get the maximum profit per unit, right? Okay. Next one. If the production cannot exceed 45, okay, so they have changed it to 45 now. Then what is the number of units that can maximize profit per unit? Well, we have already seen so far that 34 is the highest when it was 40. So we need to check 45, as in between 34 and 45, which is going to maximize our profit per unit. You know? So A and D, they definitely are not the answers, because we know 34 highest hai up to 40. At 45, let's check that. So if I look at 45, this fixed cost is 100. The variable cost is 600 and the revenue is very close to 900. So I will take this as 880. So this is going to be a total profit of 180 out of 45, which is exact 4. And at 34, it was little less than 4. Remember? 4 से थोड़ा कम था. Instead of 136, we had 130. So this is 4. This is definitely larger than 34. So C becomes the answer. And of course, this question makes sense because it's not going to be the same as the previous one. 34 से ज़्यादा ही होने वाला है, right? Next one. If the fixed cost of production goes up by rupees 40, then what is the minimum number of units that need to be manufactured to make sure that there is no loss? So if the fixed cost of production goes up by rupees 40 means whatever calculation we did in the first question, the same values in the cost, fixed cost will increase it by 40. As in jidhar bhi 40 ka gap tha, there was a profit of 40, now that profit of 40 won't happen. So if you go to the previous question to save time, we can see that the first case, the revenue was 100, right? And 70 and 70 plus wala scenario, this was 140. So the fixed cost was already more by 40. So that we shouldn't take, right? If we look at the value C, right? Acha, ye C ka nahi tha na? C was 20 idhar, bottom. So this was C option. C option as in 20 ka. So at 20, this was 320, this was 390. So there was a profit of 70 rupees. So at 20 units, the profit was 70. If the cost increases by 40, so can we say the profit will minimize to 30? So my answer should be 20 or less than 20 and definitely more than 12. So using that, 20 se kam and more than 12. Okay. So less than 20 and more than 12, we are pretty sure it can't be 10 or 20. So we need to check between 19 and 15. It will be easier if we check 15, right? 15 is the middle value. If I take this to be 10 and this to be 20, so middle value is over here. So there should be a profit of 40 rupees so that the cost, when it increases by 40, it minimizes it. Okay. So fixed cost, instead of 70, I will write 110. I'm adding this 40. Okay. Variable cost is 200. And revenue is definitely less than 300, something like 290. So their sum is actually greater than 290. So this is a loss scenario. So 15 doesn't make sense. So the only option we are left is 19. So a very typical set where using the rough sheet as a ruler and then trying to find out where the lines intersect the y-axis major grid lines, so that you can be like little more accurate. Because if you look at this on this screen, so you'll have to use the pen, which will not be accurate, and you can't redraw it on the rough sheet, right? तो वो rough sheet ऐसे उसको लगाना चाहिए. Okay. So that's all for today. People who are still there, please make sure that you like the video, and 100 most expected questions for ZAT 2023. We are going to cover the entire syllabus, previous year questions, previous year papers, tips and tricks. This has already started, excuse me, from 26th December, and it's going to happen daily at 12 p.m., 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. Okay. So make sure that you join this and utilize as much as possible. Okay. And people who are targeting 2023 CAT, we have a comprehensive program for you. Make sure that you get in touch with one of our counselors so that they will tell you everything that is required. So you get the tablet to watch the videos, attend the live sessions, to go through your account. You will be given live classroom sessions, which are taken by people who are serial 99 percentilers, at least 99. Mock test and practice tests for CAT and non-CAT exams will be given to you. More than 10,000 questions will be provided to you for your practice in all these sections. Recorded lectures will be there, more than 300 of them. You'll be given booklets to learn and solve questions from each of the 3 sections. GDPI and VAT sessions will be provided to you. These all are included in this package, okay? And study notes and previous year CAT question papers and other exam papers are provided to you. So everything is there it will be there on your online account, which you can access using tablet or phone or laptop as well. But a tablet will be given to you. And the last lab to that, the complete revision in 12 days. This is also happening. It has started from 21st December. It will end at 1st Jan. It happens daily at 7 p.m. So there are 4 sessions that you can join every day for that. If your CAT did not go well, then that is of course your next priority, right? So make sure you take the most advantage out of these. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook as well. Thank you for joining. If you guys have any doubt, so make sure that you join our Telegram group, which is BYJU'S MBA Doubts. And you can download our app from Google Play. It is given in the description below. There you will find more videos like these, where we discuss concepts as well as solve questions. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining. Take care. Bye-bye.